What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Jack's Drinkwater Southern Cooking and Barbecue. In today's video, we're going to be roasting us up a bourbon fig and Gorgonzola stuffed pork tenderloin. We're going to be doing it in their Masterbuilt 560. Now, for all my non-barbecuing friends out there, you can easily do this in your oven. You're going to do it the exact same way. The only difference you're going to do is you're going to use a roasting pan so you don't get that big fat mess all over your oven. All right, let's get busy. Alright, so we're going to get this party started. I have 2 whole cloves of garlic, and as you can see here, I've cut the bottoms off, so I'm leaving the root end on. Got it on some aluminum foil, and basically what we're doing is we're going to roast this garlic first. We're going to add a little bit of oil on there. That was grapeseed oil. We're going to sprinkle it pretty liberally with some salt and a little bit of pepper. Then we're just going to wrap it up. Now I have my grill heating up, and we're going to get it to 450 degrees, and we're going to roast this garlic until it gets nice, soft, and squishy. I'm not going to wrap it too tightly. We just don't want the oil or anything to come out. Little boat. All right, we're going to put this on our grill. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, maybe 30 or 45 minutes. All right, while our garlic is roasting, the next step we're going to do is I have 1 cup of bourbon here. I'm going to pour this in our little saucepan here. Now we're not going to bring this up to a boil or anything. Right when it starts to simmer, we're going to cut the heat off, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. All right, you can see we're just starting to bubble. We're going to take that off. Hold what you got. Just cut the heat off. Now that we got the heat cut off on the bourbon, it's time to get our soak our figs. Now I got 1 cup of figs here, and in this right here is I guess it's dried figs. It's not fresh figs. It's they're dried basically. So I'm gonna take my bourbon and I'm gonna just pour them over the figs. All right, so now I'm gonna give this a little bit of a stir, but we're gonna soak these for, I don't know, about an hour while our garlic is roasting and we get everything else prepared. All right, so it's been 45 minutes. So far, I think we're about done. Let's give it a check real quick. Oh, we got a little hole in there. Look at that. Ooh, a little hot, a little hot, a little hot. Basically, oh, okay, yeah, that looks good. Looks good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's what we want. So let's just set this aside and let's prepare our tenderloin. We're going to just let this cool so we can actually handle it. All right, so we got some pork tenderloins here. I'm about ready to cut these little jokers up. Now, I just want to say this. You could use a pork loin. I will say this. Pork tenderloin is a little bit more sketchy to try to cut, and kind of because we want to fillet them open. A pork loin is a lot easier, but use whatever you got. So we're going to go ahead, and what I like to do is lay my loin out here kind of straight, all right, and then I want to go about 1/4 of an inch or so from the end and just kind of make me a slice like that. So I got me a little line. So what we want to do is we don't want to go all the way through. You want to just slice down enough and leave about 1/4 of an inch before you go all the way through or so, and then we're just going to open it up like a book. So let me show you how I do that. Just be careful because you don't want to go all the way through. Alright, and we're just going to slowly open it up here. I'm pretty close. I know you guys can't see. I'm just going to kind of slowly do it. When I get to about 1/4 of an inch down, then I'm going to start going this direction. So, can you see this all right? I know you guys can't see it, but it's hard. But you're just going to go straight through now. I'm just going to slowly open it up. Just keep doing it. You see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of wanting to make it to where it's 1/4 of an inch all the way across. And if you feel like you need to even pound it down a little bit, you know, just take you a meat tenderizer and you can kind of pound it out a little bit thin. So it's not rocket science, guys. So when I was talking about, you know, the mallet or whatever, this is what I have right here. And I just lightly hit it, just kind of mainly in the middle here. It didn't really do a whole lot, but it did kind of spread it out a little bit. So now we're going to go in with our roasted garlic. And all you have to do with this is just kind of squeeze it out like that. And it's a little bit messy, but hey, we got gloves on. All right, you see it, you can, I don't know if you guys, if it's showing up on camera, but I just kind of smeared that off. And we still have our other full one. We're going to use that for our other loin. But you don't want this garlic to be the, you know, the dominant flavor of this situation anyway. So, all right, now let's go on with our figs. So before we put those figs on, I'm going to lightly salt and pepper the outside of this, or the inside, I should say, of our loin here. And I like a lot of pepper, so. All right, that looks about good. Okay, now let's go on with our figs. So just grab a handful of figs here and squeeze. Is this coming out on the camera? Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is, how's that? Take your little handful of figs and just kind of squeeze them a little bit. Get some of that bourbon out. And then we're just going to randomly put these jokers in here. Fighting the flies out here, guys. This is, thought we're done with those damn flies. All right, now we're gonna go on with this Gorgonzola cheese. So remember, this Gorgonzola, this is a 4-ounce pack. So we're just gonna split this pack between the two loins here that we got. All right, so the next thing I'm using here is this right here. This is just a blend of rosemary, thyme, sage, and I think that's it. It's just a poultry blend, and the Goodness Gardens is what I'm using. If you didn't have this, you could just use sage. And I'm going to chop this up. These are whole stuff, so I'm just going to chop these up and be right back with you. All right, I ain't going to lie, my wife, she chopped up all those herbs for me. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go over like that. Now, I'm not going heavy with these herbs because, to be honest with you, I'm not a big rosemary fan. But in light doses of rosemary, I think it's great. So, get off there. All right, so we're just going light with that. All right, we're going to give this a roll. We just want to keep everything in, so just roll it a little bit at a time. And if you see stuff rolling out, just smash it back in. It'll work out perfectly. Look at that. That looks good. All right, so what I'm going to do is going to kind of go seam side up. I'm going to twine it. But you see what I got going on here. And then I do it again. Go under. Again. And you'll see that it just kind of zips it up. Now, we're going to cut it. Here, just cut it. Right there. There you go. Alright, now we got a little, I don't know, kind of looks like a mummy. Next up, one more thing. I know this thing is, kind of seems like it's taking forever, doesn't it? So what I have here in this bowl right here is going to be our rub. Now, it's nothing fancy. You could use your favorite barbecue rub or any kind of rub you want, but we're keeping it simple today. Okay, we just got salt, pepper, and brown sugar in here. I'm going to leave the ingredient list in the description, probably even do a blog post on this. Well, basically, we're just going to mix all this together, and this is going to be our rub that we're going to sprinkle down on it. And we're just going to go over lightly and just kind of rub all this stuff in. And whatever's left on this board, just going to use it for the other one. Remember, we're grilling at 450 degrees. It's not going to take long to cook this, but you want to bring this up internal temperature about 140, 145. So that's what we're looking for. And one more thing, that bourbon, make sure you don't throw that bourbon away because we're going to use that bourbon as a glaze before we serve this. So while that pork tenderloin is going, we're going to go ahead and get our glaze going. So remember that bourbon we had left over. We're going to pour it back into our saucepan here. And to that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, followed by 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now I'm using Crown maple syrup, which is a bourbon barrel aged. So it's got a little bit of bourbon flavor to it, which I think fits really well with our bourbon that we already got going on those figs. All right, 2 tablespoons of that. Now we're going to go ahead and give this a stir up, and we want to reduce this by half. Just keep stirring, never stop stirring. All right, I think we're done on this second one. I'm just going to probe it real quick and make sure. I'm pulling these at 140. I've already pulled the other one at 140, so that one's good. Look at that. Oh. Woo. That looks beautiful. So I'm pulling them at 140, and then I'm wrapping them in an aluminum foil just to let them rest a bit, so and it should hit about 145. All right, as you guys can see, we've already kind of cut into this little joker, but I ain't gonna lie, I've already tasted it too, and you talk about good stuff there. All right, we're just gonna drizzle some glaze on here. Now I haven't tasted the glaze yet, that's for sure. All right, I'm just gonna go right into the middle here. He's nice and juicy. Stuff is spilling out everywhere. And you know what? I'm not even going to be proper right now. I'm just going to smash all of this in my face without a fork. Ooh, that middle is actually better than that end. Hang on a second. All right, guys. I don't know if this seemed like a lot of work, but really the hardest part of this was trussing it up. That's really the hardest part of this. I would say definitely this is a must-do for you. Don't be freaking out because it's got bourbon and fig in it. Everything, the sweetness of the figs, the saltiness of that Gorgonzola, and also the pungentness. Is that even a word, pungentness? Anyway, the pungentness of that Gorgonzola pulls all of this together, and then with that drizzle over the top, it rocks your world. All right, guys, listen. Bourbon fig and Gorgonzola stuffed pork tenderloin. Do it.